The warm summer night air wrapped around me like a second skin as I stepped onto the balcony, the wooden floor creaking softly beneath my slippers. I had just come from the shower, my hair still damp and tousled, the steam still hazy in my mind. I was supposed to be unwinding, letting the day slip away, but instead, I found myself staring at a scene that sent my heart racing. She was there, my mom's friend, Lisa, leaning against the railing. Her silhouette was illuminated by the faint glow of the street lamp below. She wore an oversized shirt that hung loosely off her shoulders, the fabric dancing in the gentle breeze, and the cigarette between her fingers glowed like a firefly in the dark. I felt a jolt of surprise, followed by a rush of something else I couldn't quite name. "I didn't expect you home this late," she said, her voice low and teasing, as if she had every right to be here, as if my presence was the intrusion. I swallowed hard. "Yeah, well, I was out with friends," I replied, trying to sound casual, though my heart thudded loudly in my chest. "My name is Daniel Moore. I'm 24, and I work as a graphic designer." Emotionally, I felt like I was teetering on the edge of something precarious, something that could either shatter or transform. She looked at me then, really looked at me, her eyes searching. Lisa was in her late 30s, but she carried an air of confidence that made her seem timeless. Her dark hair was pulled back, but a few strands had escaped, framing her face in a way that was both casual and deliberate. I could smell her perfume mingling with the smoke, a heady mix of jasmine and something deeper, more intoxicating. I could also sense the distance between us, thick and electric. "Rushed home for someone?" she asked, her gaze unwavering. I shifted my weight, suddenly acutely aware of the space between us. "No, just wanted to get some air." "Really?" The corner of her mouth twitched as if she didn't quite believe me. "Because it seems like you're running from something." Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. I could feel the walls of my own reality closing in, the familiar comfort of my home suddenly feeling like a cage. I glanced back at the darkened apartment behind me, the silence inside stretching like a taut string. "I'm not running," I said, but my voice wavered. As if sensing my hesitation, Lisa took a step closer, her body language shifting from casual to something more inviting. "You sure? Because I can help with that." Her breath caught in the air between us, and I felt the warmth of her presence envelop me. "Help with what?" I asked, my curiosity piqued despite the warning bells going off in my head. "With whatever it is you're avoiding." There was a softness in her tone, a sincerity that made my pulse quicken. "Sometimes talking helps." Talking. The word felt foreign, a concept I had long since buried under layers of routine and obligation. My mind raced with the implications of her offer. "I don't know. My balcony is always open for a good chat," she said, a playful lilt in her voice. But her eyes held something deeper, a knowing that made me both uneasy and intrigued. Just then, a car sped past, headlights cutting through the darkness, momentarily illuminating her face. The light glinted off the remnants of her smile, and I felt a strange pull toward her. I took a breath, and the night air tasted sweet and heavy, laced with tension. "Maybe I just want to be alone," I said, though even I could hear the uncertainty in my own words. "Or maybe you want to be seen," she shot back, her gaze piercing through me. I was caught off guard by the directness of her statement, and for a moment, I couldn't find my voice. The cicadas chirped in the distance, filling the silence, and I found myself stepping closer to her, breaking the invisible barrier that had kept us apart. "Why are you really here, Lisa?" I asked, the question slipping out before I could stop myself. "Why do you think?" she replied, her tone shifting again, almost coy. I could feel the heat radiating from her, the warmth of her presence pulling me in. "You shouldn't be here," I said, a part of me wanting to retreat, to erase this moment, but another part was desperate to understand why it felt so right. "Maybe not," she conceded, her eyes narrowing slightly. But I'm here now. Tell me, Daniel, what do you want? I don't know, I admitted, the truth spilling out like a secret I had kept buried for too long. I guess I want to feel something. Her expression softened, and for a heartbeat, the world around us faded away. The only sound was the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the night. Then why are you holding back? She asked, her voice a whisper, almost intimate. I hesitated, the weight of her question settling in my chest. Because it feels wrong, I said finally, my voice barely above a whisper. You're my mom's friend. She let out a small, almost amused laugh, but it was edged with something else. Something I couldn't quite decipher. And what if I told you that boundaries are often just lines we draw to keep ourselves safe? Sometimes they're meant to be crossed. I took a shaky breath, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. The space between us felt charged, electric, as if we were two magnets drawn together, yet terrified of the consequences of letting go. That's risky, I said, my heart pounding in my ears. Life is risky, Daniel, she replied, her voice steady. And sometimes, taking a leap is the only way to uncover what we really want. The cicadas continued their song, the night stretching around us like a cocoon. I could feel the tension mounting, a palpable energy that threatened to ignite everything in its path. You don't know what you're asking for, I said, my voice low, but my resolve was wavering. Then maybe it's time I found out, she replied, stepping closer still, and I could see the flicker of challenge in her eyes. And for a fleeting moment, I imagined closing the distance between us, letting the world fall away. But doubt crept in, a reminder of the realities that tethered me to my life. What if it changes everything? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Maybe it's supposed to, she said, her eyes dark and inviting. But before I could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway behind me. The front door creaked open, and the light from the apartment spilled out, illuminating the space between us. My heart raced. Daniel? My mom's voice called out, cutting through the tension like a knife. Lisa's expression shifted, and in an instant, the warmth between us transformed into something cold and tense. I should go, she said, stepping back, the intimacy of the moment evaporating like smoke in the wind. Wait, I said, a sense of urgency rising within me. Don't. But she was already moving, slipping away from the balcony and into the shadows, leaving me standing there, heart racing and mind reeling. The cicadas buzzed louder, filling the silence left in her wake. Who were you talking to? My mom asked, stepping onto the balcony, her brow furrowed with concern. No one, I said quickly, forcing a smile to mask the turmoil swirling inside me. Just getting some air. She studied me for a moment, her gaze lingering on the space where Lisa had just been. You should be careful, Daniel. The night can be unpredictable. The weight of her words hung heavy between us, and I nodded, my heart still pounding from the encounter. I will, I said, though I wasn't sure if I meant it. As my mom turned to head back inside, I caught a glimpse of the darkness where Lisa had disappeared, the thrill of the moment still coursing through me. I stepped back to the railing, leaning against it, my thoughts racing. What had just happened? The air felt charged with possibility, but the reality of my life loomed like a shadow over me. I knew I had crossed a line, yet there was a part of me that didn't want to go back, that wanted to chase after the feeling of connection, of understanding that had flickered between us. The night stretched on, the cicadas serenading me with their relentless song, and I stood there, caught between the safety of my old life and the allure of the unknown, wondering if I would ever find the courage to take that leap. In the days that followed, our encounters shifted, the air thick with an unspoken understanding. I'd see her at the mailbox, exchanging casual pleasantries, but the tension lingered beneath the surface like a coiled spring, ready to snap at any moment. One afternoon, as I gathered my mail, I caught her gaze lingering on me. "Hey," she said, stepping closer. "You've been avoiding me." I shrugged, trying to play it cool, but my heart raced. "Just busy. Busy avoiding the inevitable," she replied, a teasing glint in her eyes. I felt a rush of heat to my cheeks. "Maybe I just don't want to get caught up in something complicated." "Complicated can be good," she said, her voice low. "It can be enlightening. Or it can ruin everything." I shot back, my voice harsher than I intended. She paused, her expression shifting to something more serious. "Sometimes we have to risk it all to find out what truly matters, Daniel." Her words struck a chord deep within me, and I found myself grappling with the reality of my own desires. I had been so afraid of losing everything that I had failed to realize what I stood to gain. As summer rolled on, the heat intensified, and I found myself drawn to her more than ever. Our encounters became charged with possibility, the air thick with unspoken words. I could feel the boundaries blurring, the lines of friendship and desire intertwining like the shadows of the trees at dusk. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, I found myself on the balcony again, lost in thought. The warm air wrapped around me, and I closed my eyes, the sounds of the night whispering secrets in my ears. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, and there she was, Lisa, standing at the edge of the balcony, her presence a beacon of warmth in the encroaching darkness. "Can I join you?" she asked, a hint of uncertainty in her voice. "Of course," I replied, my heart racing at the sight of her. She stepped closer, leaning against the railing beside me, our shoulders almost touching. The air was thick with tension, the silence stretching between us like a taut string. "I've been thinking," she started, her voice barely above a whisper. "About what?" I prompted, my curiosity piqued. "About us," she said, glancing sideways at me, her expression unreadable. I felt my breath hitch in my throat. "What about us?" "About what happens next," she replied, her gaze steady. "We can't keep dancing around this forever." I turned to face her, the gravity of her words settling in my chest. "I know, but what if it all goes wrong? Or what if it goes right?" she countered, her eyes sparkling with an intensity that made my heart race. "What if we find something real?" I hesitated, the weight of her words pressing down on me. The fear of losing everything I knew clashed with the desire to leap into the unknown. "I don't want to ruin our friendship," I admitted, my voice trembling slightly. "Then maybe it's time to redefine it," she said, her gaze unwavering. A moment of silence stretched between us, the world fading away as I searched her eyes for answers. I could feel the heat radiating between us, the magnetic pull drawing me closer. "Daniel?" she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah. Can we just see where this goes?" I took a deep breath, the weight of the decision pressing down on me, but I could feel the thrill of possibility blooming within me, the promise of something more. "Okay," I said finally, my voice steady. "Let's see where it goes." And in that moment, standing together on the balcony, the night air wrapping around us like a warm embrace, I knew we had crossed a line, but perhaps that line was meant to be blurred. As the cicadas sang their song, I felt a glimmer of hope in the darkness, a fragile understanding that whatever lay ahead, we would face it together. Two souls navigating the unpredictable waters of connection and desire, unsure of what the future held but willing to embrace the journey.